Good morning to you and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Morning Update on TV Xyz, proudly brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water, Simply Natural, Black Secret Makeup, and of course the Lawson brands of medications as well. I'll tell you a bit more about it, but before we do, my name of course is Nana Abnasewa, and as always I will be doing this with Eric Ahiano. He's sitting right here. Yesterday I said he was looking regal. Today it's like he's continuing because of a certain amount of fans. And yeah, but I'm about to rain a lot of fans on my co-host because he's looking very regal in his chair like a king. This morning it's very interesting that the song they used to open the show had Castro in there, who drowned some time back. And then we saw the tidbits that we put out there for trying to save a person that is being drowned. Now, the reason I am talking about this has to do with the fact that there has been demolition of quote-unquote illegal structures in our cities, and this is due to the fact that they do not want the June 3rd situation that happened to happen again. But again, the question is this the right timing when there is COVID and a lot of people are trying to find their feet? A lot of businesses are trying to find their feet again. We'll delve into this deeper on the social segment today with some of the market women, and if we can get the AMA as well, we will have this conversation so we know both sides of the story. It's a very dicey conversation to have, but we'll try as much as possible to be as fair as possible. Good morning.
Good morning, Abna. How are you?
I'm okay.
How
are you, fine. King Eric Ahiano?
I'm fine. I'm a royal, actually.
Oh, yeah? I am too, eh?
My full name is Eric Koku Ahiano Asafo.
Oh, yeah? Asafo.
Asafo. I just decided to, in fact, the family doesn't really use Asafo often, but it's supposed to be a compound name, Ahiano Asafo.
I see. I thought Asafo is an Akan.
Yes, that's the trick. Sometimes you meet Ajamines and then you think that they are Akans. Some of these names relate. But I don't know. I'm not a historian, so I can't say much. But that is actually my name.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
I think these days I've been calling you Asafo.
So, what more Achimahin at any time?
Hey!
And you can imagine Erica Hianyo as a chief. I'll be a troublesome chief, isn't it? Because you know my
I don't want to go weakness. There. I'm not feeling well this morning.
You know my weakness, or maybe my strength, is if that's how you see it.
I know both, actually.
Okay.
Anyway.
But you see, the center spread of the Daily Graphic has the story on the demolition exercise in Accra. And I want to quote the first paragraph attributed to the Greater Accra Regional Minister. It says that, I can only succeed in making Accra work again if we support and make the campaign a collective responsibility. It sounds very exciting, but there are many issues in there. But your best friend, my best friend,
yes,
the lady who puts smile on my
our
face
faces,
and everybody's
not just
face,
your face, our faces.
Are the names.
Dako, Opoku. We'll call for pause for 3 and we'll be right back.
Good morning, and thank you for joining me once again on Pause for 3 minutes. This motivational presentation is proudly sponsored by FlexiPay, Endless Possibilities. The idea for this morning's conversation is from a movie I watched recently. A beautiful, loving, and fun-filled home faced threats of a dangerous breakup when some actions from the husband's hidden past began to stare him and the family in the face. The man himself realized that his past, which was unknown to his wife, would destroy the marriage if he does not move early and be the first person to open up to his wife. But guess what? He kept on postponing that crucial moment of confession. It was not until he lost a younger sister and his daughter was on the verge of being kidnapped that he took that bold decision to tell the wife the truth. Watching this movie and the storyline, I kept asking myself, why was it difficult for him to sit down with the wife when they had the best of times and open up about his past? It was fear. The fear of the unknown. How will my wife react if I tell her now about it? The holdback will later lead to more disturbing developments, including losing a loved one in the process. Are you facing a similar situation in your relationship? Is there something about your past that is haunting you, and you are determined to keep away from your partner, let me be sincere with you. It will all be okay until that moment when it all comes crashing. You cannot keep things away from people you love, and for so long. Some way, somehow, they always come back to haunt us. It can be difficult to come to grips with your past, but take it from me that it is more difficult when you decide to pretend and hide your past from your partner. It is better to prepare yourself if it is a very delicate matter. Secure the buy-in of some elders and break the story before things get too complicated. It is best not to keep secrets because they can damage the best of relationships if your partner finds out later. When you withhold things from your partner, you create a closed door between you, which often leads to confusion. Sometimes, sharing your past can be used against you bitterly. And because you cannot predict or imagine what the other person will do when you share information about your past, many will prefer to keep it a secret and pray that nothing comes up to open wounds. My advice, be open and receptive to your partner and make it easy to hold conversations and share information. If you show certain signs, your partner will hide things from you. That's it for today. Join me every Monday and Thursday on the morning update on TV XYZ and Xyz TV. Thank you.
So that is it. Obobia has been with us again with some strong advice. I believe all of us will take you from.
What secrets are you keeping from me?
You are not that close to me, so some of the secrets, you will not associate yourself with them, so I can't share. I can't share.
Tell me one.
No, I can't. I can't.
All right. So at least we know that now you have to have open and honest conversation with your partners. It saves us a lot of trouble.
Yes, it's good advice, but it also depends on the demeanor or the psyche of that partner. You know, some people have strong heart and can overcome some of the surprise revelations that you may put before them. And in my opinion, that is something that you may have to be very careful in managing. And it's always important because whatever you do can come back to haunt you.
Yes.
It's like if you're a man, you go to do galamsey, you know galamsey, and you have a baby and you are taking care of that baby outside. You have not told your wife. One day it will come back to haunt you. And at that time, that is where most of the partners feel the pain. It is better you share and manage it than you keep it. And so if they realize that you have been keeping or have been living with you and all these things have happened and you didn't tell me, that pain is more excruciating than just to let it go from the beginning.
Yeah, but also it's not everything that you come and tell your partners. You have to be emotionally intelligent. That's the thing, because sometimes some of the things I don't need to know.
Why would you do something secret at all? Why?
Well, that's why I said you have to spare your partner's feelings sometimes.
I'm saying, why would you do it?
Why would I do? You ask me, I haven't done anything.
Then don't say take it bad. Why would you say that?
But that's the thing. If let's say you went to have an affair, and I mean the woman hasn't gotten pregnant
don't go there.
or anything, don't come and tell me.
As for affair, don't go there.
Exactly. So don't.
So apart
there
from
are certain
affair,
things that you
apart
have
from affair, the rest may appear normal.
No, I'm saying that. Don't come and tell me to go and have an affair.
I took bribe. They will not feel it as today me that one there. Okay, so Daily Graphic on its front page has stories on Galamsey. It says Galamsey wreaks havoc, vast swaths of forest, rivers devastated in eastern and western regions. So the conversation is on. Defense Minister Dominic Nituul is challenging Ghanaians that if you have any fact to prove that government officials are deeply involved in Galamsey, bring their names out. This is what he's been telling the public since yesterday. So it's all part of efforts to fight Galamsey. So he has thrown the challenge out there. If you have it, share it. I was about to talk about this story involving traders who came to our premises complaining bitterly about the impact of the ongoing demolition exercise. While I support any exercise that will keep Accra clean, I believe that there's the need for what we call human face, because we are undergoing a lot of stress already because of COVID. Government itself admits that there is COVID. So in my opinion, if Greater Accra Regional Minister wants to keep Accra clean, he has to prioritize and see where to start first. I would have wished that they liaise with maybe Zoom Lion and other companies and first of all take care of filth. And while government is continuing the processes to offer relief packages to some of those potential beneficiaries, they will actually do proper assessment of people involved and see a way of mitigating the impact on them. And so either you look for an alternative place for them to go and trade, give them advanced information, and push them there, encourage the public to also support by patronizing whatever they sell in those areas before you launch on whatever they are doing around the Graphic Road. So it is almost like we have gone to France. We are happily celebrating 170 million pounds to help for the establishment of the development bank. Meanwhile, we are also looking for $100 million to go and build a cathedral. So that cathedral, and we are looking for money to build a cathedral, and all it will do is to boost our spiritual whatever. And we are begging for money to come and establish a bank that will actually expose us to a lot of opportunities. So we always have the priorities wrong. And in my opinion, the plight of these women must be looked at. It looks as if somebody is living in a comfort zone. He doesn't care about the children or the people who depend on these traders. They are telling us that they have been doing this, or they have operated around the Rollins Park area for more than 20 years. 20 years, and taking a drastic measure like this will definitely, in fact, crumble everything in their homes. And these are breadwinners. That is where I see the thin line that the authorities at AMA and the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council must look at, Abena.
Yeah, that's the thing. We are not backlashing the minister, but we are just saying that certain homework needs to be done before you get up and go and do what you've done. If you had relocated them, because I was listening to her, Henry Corte, and he said something about Zoom Lion not being able to navigate those areas to clean. So all they had to do was just move the market women to a better place so that people can clean. And eventually you find other things or other places for them to sell their commodities and not just go and dismantle everything. Now they've become part of the unemployed people in the country. They don't have anything to do, because when they destroy the shops, your commodities are in there. They destroy the commodities as well.
How many successful families today actually started from these tabletop sellers who wake up around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., go through all the toils during the day to keep families surviving? It looks as if sometimes we don't really sit down as a team and understand what really is going on. AMA takes taxes from them. The tax force operates in those areas. Several metropolitan chief executives have made attempts and they have failed. Some say lack of political will. I don't know whether this time Henry Corte will have the political will to do it. But if the women are raising sensitive issues, bread and butter issues, I believe at this stage, people must begin to sit down and find out, so what can we immediately do to help these people? If we assume, I don't know, but that is why I am happy that you will be speaking to the public relations officer of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. If we get him, because he has agreed to speak and he's able to explain to us what they have, it should be enough to satisfy these women and then at least address the fear factor that is pushing them to go to media houses to launch their complaints.
Anyways,
I see Ghanaian Times in front of you.
Yes, I have Ghanaian Times. I have Daily Dispatch and the Daily Post.
I have the Chronicle and the Daily Graphic. Would you start with the Ghanaian Times?
Yes, I'll start with the Ghanaian Times. The banner story has to do with the COVID-19 vaccination that is taking place. So the second jab is ready, and you're being advised to go to the centers to take it. But please note that you have to go there sequentially. So if you went on the 2nd of March, then that means that you were supposed to have gone yesterday. If you went on the 3rd of March, it means you're going today. If you went on the 4th, it means you're going tomorrow. So please, let's take note of that.
And actually, they are sending text messages around. I got my text message.
Yours.
I've taken my jab.
Okay.
So.
And also, please don't fight them, because they said they will change some of the cards as well. There's.
I think they give advance notice. And so when you go, what I noticed was that the first card they gave us didn't have any watermark or this logo. If you buy product, you know, there's a software you can use to check if it's authentic. So they took the old one, gave me a new one. After I took my jab, they put a sticker in it. So I am told to keep it carefully. It may in future become the passport that I will use. Because in other countries, what is going on in many of these European and Americas is that those who have it have the, in quote, COVID passport or COVID clearance passport to go about and populate in some of the areas and do their normal activities.
Let's take note of that. Also, Otumfuo backs speedy dredging of the Awabi River as government moves to protect water bodies from pollution from Galamsey. We want unity. Development in Tafo, residents say as they rally support for their MP. Government, European Investment Bank signed 170 million euro for the DBG, that is the Development Bank Ghana. We will not back down on Galamsey fight. This is coming from Mr. Dominic Nitiwo. On the back page, however, it says that ministry and private organizations to promote local materials in housing. Network for Asin development wants deplorable roads fixed.
So let's do some quick 2 minutes to wrap up, because Wisdom is signaling me. The center spread of the Daily Graphic has the picture of the president when the signing ceremony took place for the release of 170 million euros for the establishment of the bank. And then we have the front page of the Daily Graphic. The Chronicle, on its front page, talks about the Tema Oil Refinery, and that's the story. Toll collapsing under heavy debt. I'll share more with you when we begin the newspaper review segment. Daily Dispatch and other papers, obviously, will be part of that conversation. We'll be taking a break. Wisdom will join us shortly.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
It's that time of the morning again when we keep you updated on all the running stories. And this morning's edition, we have African leaders urge to cut down expectations on debt cancellation, cut down appetite for borrowing, and focus on efficient resource management. Also, National Security Coordinator's justification for the assault on DCOP Pariado shut down. And this morning, we ask, will authorities barge as the conjunction exercise continues in Accra as victims cry for help, pleads on the Vice President and the First Lady to intervene. And later, baby miraculously survives as mother was killed in an accident. We have details of these and other stories for you. Many thanks for your company. My name is Westom Hedejimi. Let's begin the story from the business front. And African leaders have been advised to focus on cutting down expectations and manage proper resources of their economies as ongoing talks about the cancellation of Africa's debt. Now, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Lord Mensah, who spoke to our news team, says the ongoing lobbying by African leaders will be a difficult thing to do. There is more in this report.
The call for the cancellation of Africa's debt follows the impact of the coronavirus on many economies struggling to bounce back. President Nana Akufo-Addo, who is leading the campaign, was speaking at the Summit on Financing African Economies in Paris, France, last Tuesday. He cited the Bretton Woods Conference after the Second World War, which created a global financial architecture. He, however, says this support has been skewed towards Europe, Americas, and Asia over the past 77 years. He listed collateral damage from the Cold War, inequality in the global economic system, an economic relationship built on power and resource grab. TV XYZ News has been speaking to senior lecturer at the Department of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Lord Mensah, on this demand. In his opinion, debt cancellation may not come easily and the expected impact could be lower. He explains that Africa's debt is mainly from Eurobond market and not from the Bretton Woods institutions.
Now, if you look at our debt structure as a country, clearly you will see that the Eurobond, component is very high compared to the Bretton Woods institutions, and these are purely commercial, borrowing. And like I said earlier, the white man or our partners knows very well that, that kind of incentives to borrow and then possibly be motivated to borrow more and then later coming back to beg that the debt should be forgiven is very high. That is why, some way, somehow, prudently, they open up the Eurobond market. And, you could see since 2006, a lot of African countries have been borrowing from that market. And with this borrowing, it's not easy to ask for forgiveness.
Dr. Lord Mensah said African leaders can only renegotiate payment terms except for the IMF, which may also tie in conditionalities.
If for nothing at all, the debt will be there. But then possibly you can only, negotiate for maybe the time, the duration of the debt. So if it's 13 years you're supposed to pay, maybe it can go for maybe 26 years, double of that. But to ask for debt forgiveness, it means that you intentionally know very well that there's a forgiveness somewhere. That is why you are speeding up with your borrowing.
He advises Nana Akufo-Addo's government to cut down expenditure and stop blaming every crisis facing the economy on COVID.
I'm pleading with the government to look at our expenditure side and prudently, how we can spend wisely. Because at the point where your revenue is not forthcoming, at the point where, economies have, come down, even if you export now, I don't think you will generate much as it used to be. What do? You have to make sure that you bring, your life closer to what you can afford.
Now, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey's holy war to get rid of slums and unauthorized structures along ceremonial roads is put to test as affected traders are calling on the First Lady to intervene. They say their only source of livelihood has been cut off, and this can only be put to test over time.
I'm a friend, Mama. Monday, Tuesday, and that's
the angry traders stormed the premises of TVXYZ to vent their frustration. They claim the ongoing demolition exercise has no human face. According to them, their survival has depended on businesses around the Rolling Circle area for the past 20 years, and the decision by authorities to eject them without providing an alternative is unacceptable.
Muna Rollins Park, Muna be a deuce, Muna be a Kwame, Yara Munazua school, Muna Roquashini, Mumatani.
Blamiton, dear, or Rorista Cominias Cano, Mandi, and from Hupo, Miaka Summit, Midimibanu, Echo, SS, Sege, and Okoye, Okoye, and Mibano at 21 years, or 3 years when you want to Econo.
The ongoing demolition targeting makeshift structures along Ceremonial Street is led by Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte. Dubbed, "Let's Make Accra Work" continues unupdated. But the women say the decision must be reverted. They are now pleading with the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, to intervene. Now let's talk about security. Now, former Executive Secretary to then retired IGP David Asante Apietu, I'm talking about, he's asking that the justification by the National Security Coordinator, Major General Francis Edumoafo's justification for the assault on DCOP Opare-Addo is non-convincing. He explains. Retired police DCOP Ayensu Opare-Addo, who has headed Ashanti as regional police commander before, has been consistent with his claims. He insists those who stormed his office, handcuffed and dragged him out are well-known MPP vigilante group Delta Force members led by one Mohammed Seidu, who are fighting back because of Galamsey. Hear him narrate his ordeal.
I was handcuffed in the office by these guys and my secretary started crying widely in the office, but they had locked the door and they had locked another door in the operations office. You know, they came with a hired vehicle, not with any official vehicle. They handcuffed me and I told them that I wanted to go and urinate. One young man followed me to the toilet and I asked why he did that. I said, "Oh, but we are all men." I had been told by the Executive Secretary to the President, Nana Santiago, that His Excellency has said that I should hand over this office to them.
But that has been rubbished by government. National Security Coordinator, Major General Francis Edu Amanfo, who was hijacked by some pressmen, insists the agents are operatives from his outfit. He maintains DCOP Opare-Addo, who has been relieved of his post since April 9 for non-performance, is rather a criminal.
He wasn't handcuffed.
He wasn't assaulted.
He rather called the police commander, regional commander, to come. Opare-Addo had a contract with National Security, and for 4 years he was the regional liaison officer for National Security. His term of office or his contract expired, and it was not renewed. I understand that it was not renewed because of non-performance and because of his own criminal activities.
It is like what, sir?
Like what, sir? What are some of the things that you picked up as an intelligent chief?
But finally, you say
you're addressing these issues.
These issues are being investigated. He had no locus to be in the office because a new officer had been appointed, and he should have handed over to the officer. He says he won't hand over.
But MP for Wa West, Superintendent Peter Lancheni Tobu, who was former Executive Secretary to then Inspector General of Police, COP David Asante Apietu, has shot down his explanation. He explains how the national security architecture works with reference to the subject in contention.
If the president fires you and appoints a new person, your job is to hand over to that new person. But there is no way out. You just walk out of the office and leave the office vacant. It is unprofessional. Security-wise, it doesn't make sense. You need to wait for the person who is coming to take over from you, and you do proper handing over. The second issue is that if this person is incompetent, you've worked so well and you've been granted extension, and all of a sudden you are incompetent, what it means that the earlier assessment was erroneous. The earlier assessment was wrong, and whoever conducted the earlier assessment to give you that opportunity for you to be extended, the person should also be held accountable.
TVXYZ News is following the controversy and will keep you updated. Now, Xyz News has been engaging more stakeholders on this worrying trend threatening national cohesion and general security. Now, foreign policy and security analyst Sani Adib describes the attempt to rationalize how DCOP Pariado was assaulted by the hoodlums as disappointing. Now, Sani Adib says the conflicting report about what informed his removal from office and DCOP Pariado's claim calls for an independent investigations and possible sanctions.
Into consideration the seriousness of the allegations is for an investigation to be carried out, and I must say categorically that it is in the best interest of the national security to ensure a proper investigation is conducted, because a lot more Ghanaians are by the day beginning to feel that we are reducing the national security to party foot soldierism, vigilantism, and people might not think it's serious.
And on claims by the Electoral Commission that it cannot be held responsible regarding the deaths associated with the 2020 elections, this is what Sani Adib said.
The case of Techiman South, I mean, the manner in which things were done, especially by the EC official there, is, amounted to the confusion in that area. So I expect her to eat the humble pie and accept her shortcomings. She's human. Everybody has shortcomings. She cannot be perfect. But for her to want to deflect it is what I find completely incomprehensible.
Now let's go to the camp of the National Identification Authority, because it says all eligible Ghanaians will acquire their ID cards before the time is due for the re-registration of SIM cards.
Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia served notice that subscribers who fail to re-register their SIM cards when the exercise begins in the next few weeks risk losing their telephone numbers. Government says national ID card shall be a mandatory requirement to ensure the process, when complete, will sync with the national database with details of all subscribers to help fight SIM box and Momo fraud. NIA database so far has captured about 15.5 million Ghanaians. Critics say the directive is likely to affect over 14 million, many of whom may be students or the aged in rural settings, but the authority says there is no cause to worry.
15.5 million people have the card already, so those 15.5 million people can go and register their SIM cards when the process begins. But the rest who do not have it, I said that we divided the population into two. Those 15 years and above, we've captured 84.something% of that. So the remainder could go to the regional and district offices. All Ghanaians aged 15 and above who did not get their Ghana cards can go to the NIA offices anywhere nationwide and get registered.
Concerns have been raised about Ghanaians likely to miss the exercise, but the National Identification Authority is allaying fears. It said its offices nationwide shall be open to issue cards for free. NIA Chief Executive Professor Ken Atefua, however, says lost card replacements will go for a fee, including those who prefer premium service ranging between 150 Ghana cedis and 250 Ghana cedis. Professor Atefua, who was speaking to the media on the sidelines, explains further.
You can, if you go to any of the offices, it is free. Just as, for all first-time applicants, it is free. If you lose the card and you want a replacement, there is a replacement fee of 23 Ghana cedis. If you want a premium service, you could go to the NI headquarters at the moment and register at a premium for 250 cedis. If you want to invite us to your home, as long as you have 5 persons or more, all of this is by law, the Fees and Charges Act. You can, if you have 5 persons or more, you can invite us to your home at a fee of 150 cedis per person, plus the small cost of the transportation to your home. We'll come and register you.
And let's end on that sad story here, because a nursing mother was crushed to death yesterday when a speeding Kia truck whacked her as she attempted to cross the Cape Coast Highway at Amanfrom near Kaswa. Her baby, however, survived miraculously.
The sad incident at Amanfrom Top Town attracted scores who lamented about speeding along the stretch and called for the immediate construction of rumble strips to save lives. Witnesses say the victims, a woman with her baby on her back, were whacked by a Kia truck fully loaded with tissue as she was crossing the highway. She died on the spot, but her baby miraculously survived. Another victim, who sells nose masks, was also hit by a commercial bus. She also escaped death, but is on admission at the Amanfrom Polyclinic.
Day in and day out, no, car boni power Amanfrom top town. You know why you here. Me busa say, I didn't in a pavement now. Even light, sisi suno, light nankasa sisi suno anya adwuma. But you who say pavement na so say e kwan nankasa cars na eden ene na mu no. I didn't know say timi basa. Ahefo an adwen ma o man Ghana. Ahefo na engineer for the roads. As a people say o man ni mu a o mutimi nye.
The timely arrival of the police prevented the angry mob from pouncing on the drivers. The police, however, said, in view of the danger speeding vehicles pose to pedestrians and bystanders, it would be advisable for the Ghana Highway Authority to re-engineer the road or construct speed ramps.
I recommend speed ramps because the rate hana cars no omodi for 2 minutes no omo say zebra crossing crowd ho nti omodi omo fi say ho ne highway nti me recommend this and omo speed ramps ma yanka be boy pedestrian knockdown no akofom kakra.
And the trial of 2 suspects who killed their playmate for money rituals has been adjourned to June 2. Now, this was because the judge was absent in court yesterday. Well, that's all time will allow this morning for News in Brief or Morning Update. Please log on to my xyzonline.com and be updated. Many thanks for your company.
And I who is it? Moya fantastic. So say, dear, we in charge when you feel one casancasa. Losing the layman capsules. A mob sitting in Koto Juma yet dream. No bread you must have with Shankasankasa. No, near. So, Lawson Lotte, Mr. And let's see you. I'm always if you want, you're free to come to I say for some boom down and see me, dear someone. See what Lawson Lotte, Mr. Lawson Layman Castle. More your boom, more and allow. Lawson Lotte, Mr. Lawson Layman Capsules. Do you know what you feel?
Delay man capsules and do feeding what they cronkwan and a lower care mixture so a pay for a ma woman for anyone I want you feeding what train song can FD Ashisha sa a jedi and crater you adja to muse.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome back to the morning update on TV XYZ. My name is Nana Abnasewa, and as promised, this is the social segment, and we will be discussing the demolition that has been ongoing If they come back 20 times, we will sack them 30 times. This is the statement from Henry Korte, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, with regards to the Let's Make Accra Work initiative, which has seen over 1,000 stores being demolished in the central of Accra, Odona, UC Rollins Park. A lot of traders have lost their commodities. Some of them have lost their places where they can sit and sell. They have lost their containers, their shops, even the places where they keep their commodities when they are done for the day. And so there's a lot of anger ongoing, because then the question is COVID, and a lot of things are tough for even those that have the white collar jobs. And so these traders who do not have any source of income apart from what they are doing also have to suffer this. Then there is a lot that needs to be said. Some people or some school of thought believe that this is misplaced priority, and this isn't the best time to have been doing this. I remember my favorite kinky joint, it was going for 1 cedis, and 1 cedi was okay for me, but now the same 1 cedi has become 2 cedis, and that tells you, sir, the economy is tough. A lot of things are going wrong. So the question is, did the minister or did even the AMA consult these women, talk to them and tell them that we want to embark on this exercise, and so we would need you to maybe stay away for a couple of days, or we would want to relocate you to this place or that place. Communicate with the people. This is something that I have been saying every single time when issues like this come up. I say that have open, honest communication with the people. We can all come together, have the solution to what you might even think is a problem. For you know, it's just a challenge that could easily be solved. This morning in the studio, I have 2 traders from the Traders Union Association, and we will be talking to them to find out how angry they are, how this has affected them, their livelihood. Their entire livelihood is gone. They do not even know how they will be surviving in the coming days. They are saying that they were not given notice. Well, I would want you to hear from their mouths as well. But we'll also talk to the AMA PRO to be sure, you know, to make sure that it doesn't look like we are supporting one side. And because I said earlier on in the show that this is a dicey conversation to have, and we would have to be as fair as possible. Pamucho, good morning.
Good morning.
But on my extreme left is Madam Gifty Asamoah, yes, and also Selassie Akolache. Me Pamucho, good morning once again. Adia El Kosono, China, we had the Kakrama meeting fanchame. Before answer, Omo Beye dia, Omaye, Omo Mamo notice be. But Madam Gifty, the kind
before Ombe start here, dear, no, Omo Baye no. We can't move for last 2 weeks. We will fear. And I'm a bad girl. FM say, Mommy, yes, see, I buy you. I'm saying, only umbrella, me ni contain umbrella pen am so. No see me umbrella no na, only umbrella no sister ni ma no. E good bottom. Nti ho na me aka say me fa dropping na me do ho. Nti me do ho na me see o. Ya kita umbrella, ya kita container no. Ye nkan ho bi. Na mo kita containers no. No mo eyiyi o mu niama. Ti e che na esa bisa say mo see containers o. No mo see containers dos won ti mo yi container na ya ye kita container. Ye niama ye umbrella ni niama ya agide ye count. Ti ye ti wo last week Wednesday me kofa niama. Me kofa niama me be do open ban say mama boys be betwe mu. Mo see up to Saturday mu yi mu niama no en free ha na mama nsi hebio. Na me say up to Saturday first ye wo no sabai na bibi se basis wo mo di car e na now e kire ye say ye ma 2 weeks and 3 weeks BBC baba si to be a ye no prepare ni ho ana so ye no ho na bibia enye fine na esi o na esu ya ye but we Wednesday Thursday holiday Saturday ya ma Friday ye ba ye the same thing as abeti say omu kai ye ni e minute me pre ho na ye this ade ye stress say ya nya kofa ne ma na bebu ho ye sika kita ye ya mata me say we kunewu 2016 mi nkite bi enu na me ye na me di me ma ko school kakakakra Ghana omo amunim Ghana say okrafo wo Ghana ha obi ani wo obu ano this ono kasa ntu ni ho na mo je say dey dia o si fa ko je say comedy na ni ma dani street we ya omo stress radie mi sa de na ye mi ferry pass e me ko be bia kosoro bia de na ye mi ya ye ti enu akakaka na me di hwe me ma omo di ko school nti se mo aba me ni na kakotoku om fiti mande ye ba e say kita kakrapo na ye ti wokura ye kita niama na ye di si yesra so ko yete na mo ba bubu nkonwa no no mo ayesa no mo se mo solin free ha ye nyina ye Ghana ma ye srom ye pon mu cho yesrem ebi edu no sakron mu ye covid kra ni ho yetumi ye dwuma fiti 2020 ebedu ha akabi aba this time no omo ko bia ni omo ni we na satam yetumi ko lockdown ye ko lockdown na me need one cd ba yakupon no di mi call ye amofo na mi sresre na me ni medi wo fie ti we fiti man de be ka ha e che lockdown mi ko mu de fiti man de be through by this e che lockdown mi wo lockdown mu mi ba mi tumi tombi kola fo mi ko kola fo mi ton se mi ton light bibia mama so samu ho ye mobo yeso ye bre ye do e mebia se do ye ado left time omo dai ho e wo ne ye bekasa bibi ne ye be boa mu te se ye hia omo boa ye hia omo ye pa mu chopa.
Okay, but Madam Salasi, how many years now we start say adwuma wo ho no?
Me start here na me ba second born na we did 2 years and I'm start here see I did 26 years nti macha wo ho pa ehwa na yetena ehwa first na ewo kwan no ho ye gina kwan no ansa na ye ba inside abaye na ye ba inside nti ye ba inside no ye ne kakra first ehho no umbrella ewe ye fe ne sen container ni ho nti ne ye wo ye the umbrella na because o mama ye won say sane ma ho ye car park yes we agi atum say ho ye car park nti baby a car wo be park ya na car be display wo ho no ye nko ho nti ye wo ye be be nketen for jeje abreso ene ye wo ho nti abaye de eba omo pamo ya ye kwa ye ba ye ne kakra ansa na kufuo ebaye ono so ba the same thing enu kwa de ponko nyina asan ye ni nyina mu kra no ye ne kakra ansa na ye papa owu ye atames obaye ono so saa sana mahama eno so saa ansa na ono so ye papa ye wa ba so sisi ye oba so foforo no ne ye wo ho na abaye baye last 4 years in fact na say ya no mpese omoye no nti ye papa daddy Kennedy ono baye ho ye nchen wo Rollins Park ene yeso kire no ono se asem we de ontena so in fact papa no aye ade pa o se obema ya tena se sister oba ho Tuesday adichi Wednesday ene ya tena se a be payment ne ye ba betu aba mu baye ho fefefe eno de na monim se ye wo kwan ho monim se ye wo ka dabre ye po mu chow hwi ni ho ye be ka mi ti se mi kun wu yo ba mi ni kunu ma wo ba ko 7 sister nkola wo school mi ma 3 mo university sister me den Central University school fees ya yin mon ka sa mu di mi nukre mi sra na ye sre yenti mi ni omu mpre ho de ye kan ni se ye sre wo mu ye sre wo mu na ye wu sister 1000 po ni mi bag mu yakofa ni ma Thursday and I say mu ibra Monday sister can you imagine up to now yes sre wo mu.
Okay, Madam Gifting Pacho abaye for no omo hamun ayana omo pese mo ko hin
eni mo si yempie no ali so mo si yempie keke omo kan kire se
omo nkasa
market wa ha anamu ko ha e ye ni dabre wo ba bia
but mo kasa se mi a kire am say mo wa ye baby
mi kai ku for time no e na tama ye wo ka kwan mu e wo Rollins Park ni mu no e no mo ba o say omo ko si odo na market ti wo nyakopon ni menu kware na na me di tena ha yi omo si odo market ye mu bi nyaaye ye bi bi anya bebli anya ebi omo afọ omo wo fie ebi mu kwa kuma se anya odo nya market ato apata ato obi owo kuma se o otu anya odo na market ato ye ti hokwan no amuba ye no kwan no anya ti so current wo kuma se ni sem asana wanye bi se si ya no ade no apata na hyi ye mu bebre de ye we sacrifice baby aka me name Mrs. Sako na me yi kakra de ye we se ho ahye ye de we age ho bibi ani ho a ye fa bibi ani ho a ye so ye fa ye de aniama no ye we ye ko a obeka so betena ho bibi ani obi anka bibi an kire ye omu ka hwe no ale se omu si ye fi ho keke
but ebi mu so asama mo kan say maso eyedin esan say abaye for no aba on several occasions into nanke we say mo free ho in order to avoid situation aba CCA and Madam Selasi oka who saying
abaye fo no ampanya me no muba omuba ba this time omuba but this time the way omo ye ade no ano aye den amaye omuba o but at least ye manage ne kakra yes at the end of the day no ye nya kakra ye ne ye mabe kwa kodi but sesi ade ne de ano aye den amaye ye de ni hwia ye beka sra na ye sra omuma ye ne kakra ti sesi de ye ne first no ye nya ne sa bio.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So two more traders have joined in the studio, and I'll let them introduce themselves, and we'll continue the conversation. Mommy Pacho, your friend say.
Pacho, your friend Grace.
Pacho Grace, yeah.
Edu.
Grace Edu. Pacho, Madam, what's your friend say? Comfort up PJ. Me pacho so what there now Mama Selasi can say abaye for eba all right now so no mo pacho say nka ye ma munye dia moye na but unsa aban so ka say omo pese omo beautify Accra nti no oka ho say
ne kra dia o ka no ka ye gitum I say inside Rollins Park inside a car park but it pavement so nti na me no a chopper na ye pacho say because you could jina kwa ho a ombesaki any yetimi abe inside the tosu bi mu so mo say bitite cars no echi ti yes aban sanko hu ye mobo no de ono ama emefo no any embra me hye bibi maye se na bibi tumi atena because ye kofi a ye nim nya ni ye mai kodi ye hye mai tumi hwe nyanka bi ye den e ka ye boa foforo. So what you say? Loans near the ejuma. Sisi aye kase bebre sika also mutua. Quick loan other banks no. Yentimi ntua ye. Na se mo pam ye wa be ni baby aye kwa for now. Den ye be ye. E di osun ni are ho betumi afokura so aye den. Ewu. Enti se na ye den. Yes sisi a.
Okay. Madam Pacho, unso say na fiti se mo start ejuma wo hoi. And then the first time and I say and dra the first time ma bibi say ensia. Inti Mr. Mo boni ni die ma de inti na mompe krabia wan kasa mompe krabia e ma mo
aban bia ba abaye ne ba aban bi obebe abaye ne ba beto mo ba omo ne ye kasa mo hihye yie munye se omo kan ye diso omo nkasa omu tu ye free hokra aji this time pe eno mo so mu tu ye free hokra ba mo kan so mu tu ye free na nko ma ye say ye mamudate say obi amfanyi ne no ma na won fa nkwa nka e bia nka me fe se nka e bi kura nka obi ba ya hombo ase ye ba me date o mi tunte wo se me pake na me pe ba bi na me ye de me fa bibia sa
actually the mean chowa no madam Gifty ye kasa eche no o ka bibi se ye catch am say Saturday mamumba
last week Wednesday na adichi Thursday holiday ti ebi mu utada de na nye de bia na ebi mu ba market obi so ho bia Wednesday ni off day oma ti mi say no Wednesday mi ko fa niam ba ye no na me ba ni catch am say mo see Saturday obi anfa ni niam ko na manya ko fa niam aguboto mu dada aka me meeting ni say o ma ka 2 weeks ana 3 weeks ana say ya mi first can ko fa niam ko mo be di mi ma ka me pack niam scanner to na me no me ma di kakala ko pin time be ye na me di akoto ya me lo nkura e be ti na boa me.
Okay, it is a say hifa pa na ye de mam say mo nko a e be boa mo because honum ne de Mr. Cotter aka say enya de obema mo san aba enti ne say say ebi amuni ehia na say muni minister na ehia kasa hifa pa na say ye de mam a e be ye mam
sister ye
because
someone can train ni baby a da bread that say ne ye de no so ye force ade no pe baby a edom wo epi adom ewo no e na force wo na force so wo sa ha dom ni ha ye fa say odi etwi dom ediba nti ye sia ye ni ti say that meeting dan no so mo si je for ye de omu ko hifan chire no ye de no ye de ko ho dia e ye ti say yankasa na be share ya de
one de be fuka say aya mo de ko ho a na say ye chire say bia say force for no wo say ya enipa ne be ko because me bia me be to atare na be bia minim say mo wo no enye ho na mo wo na ye chire me say mo wo be bi say ya ye beba ana no so
say wa on say ye wani mu kantamanto wo ho na ye wa ha nti ti se o de makọ ti se kaso a Mr. Kantamanto ho abaka so abetatale debi mba because ye pebroni wo pa Kantamanto ne wo ti de tell Mr. Kantamanto ho abaka so abetatale mba ntu de ekwa chiri a wase
no ne asem nti se a de potin pa na mo pese mo ka chira bai
e ka chira ne se yesre no Rolling Spark do ka so maye ma ho bi mo wa han ye ni kwa you inside ye ni baby for now ye ko o se kokompe for ye se do mo ko so tu mu se anti eku ya ka tonko fo di
amoye
ato enkofo nim so what you say ye de no bi enim this is about impromptu so mo saking esa na ebe ha adwen ye twa ne mesi wo enkofo sika ne akwaje bisia boy ye de ye adwuma ti yesre no ye papa cho mayor ne regional minister yesre mo ani di mu ni nua ma ene ne yer no na wo fa asefo ene ye de enkoto dwegu fom se ye pane cho time.
If I turn your mama, it's a good one.
It's some mama time the Tom when your man.
No, baby, so when you
my sister, don't
say no more can say that you can say moon cock so why never
and make cases to say. Sissy, I remember baby, Amaya, I cried your house. But someone tries any dear quasso, say baby canta, because I'm what if you can't one. Ye. And I can't answer now. I am can't for now. I am and ya dear minya no more way obia no obenya enti yesu ye dia yenya no any Rolling Spark ti yesreno ye pane show any die kwa so yinkuto jogu form we ye ntumi no omonko yentumi no omontwemanso bet ye dia chopa I need die edi echire say yesreno because you can say you kwakwa sesre omo kra na sisi omo so omo program so omo ye den omo ye omo nya bi maye ti ye die nkakra nkre ye omo ye mobo no mo nso ye mo na enye say bi 1 year kra omo de be maye na de abobo ye ho kra na e be okay no mo pa baby maye betimi aye den akọ
okay but me dey say mo ka say counter no e ho ma
yes
enti no say o dem me pa ye be back to our conversation but your AM PR no line. So hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
Me pasha ya beka cheese head be ya almost to me a year man ya Traders Union Association members ni bi e wa hanum say. And once again, good morning. Yeah, because of demolition now, also across the but I think the very prominent conversation on the traders and said more notice. How true is this?
Thank you very much for opportunity. Once again now. Ma memfa akonya we so na mentia mutiefu nyina na specifically a lot of activities in terms of removal of illegal structures happening within the entire Greater Accra enclave. Now, share within the AMA zone now, me sure say there are more capacity and no in relation to the Kosovo or Rolling Spark, no? I'm right.
Hello, Mr. Mose.
Mr. Ankra.
Mr. Ankra, okay. Sorry for the Pacho Yetio.
Now, me can say that there are more capacity in relation to the Kosovo Rolling Spark.
Aye.
Now, Rolling Spark, issues of engagement. Now, me catch on say the issues of engagement. Assembly, I engage traders, on countless occasions. I pay ocean soa. They are as a sudia bit me ama Saudi American Ukraine ubit me a verify. Say ocean most of containers any illegal structures now. Ye were honey no assembly actually now the traders there themselves can attest to the fact that there's been series of engagements to let them move away from that very enclave, especially traders are containers. ACCC and no enona we've engaged them enough and they are aware of exercise now. Yeah, and in the Oceana, assembly no be more ammonium or moton no. Yes,
Miss Anka, almost monka bibia san fanchre or mo.
And no, there's been series of that kind of arguments or more. Now, I want to make and can say, can't be extra. They can attest to the fact that some, almost all of containers now assembly in year now. Now, as far back as February, and I extract most of the containers before that the car.
Miss Akwa Pacho, hold on. I'm penny you are hinting me man asem na no ansa na yatoa enkomo no so why me Pacho o se oni mo akasa
containers ni die o ma cho ma ke containers ho but o mo nkasa mu yi containers na o ma ye nhye dwebiem o mo nkasa o mo so mu yi containers no o mo clear containers so what I say o mo clear containers na you see one umbrella na ya
go back and take the rubber from the floor.
Miss Anka.
Yeah, me chill.
Okay, nti Pacho.
O mo ka say o mo yi containers no na ya hye yedwa ba containers na do so park no so cars nye baby nye den em park nti containers ne de o me chọchro ho o ma ye say be china na asade a chia no mbe yi nti o me chọchro 2 weeks and o me start so mu yi ye ni asem bia ye beka o mu yi na o mo chen ye say betumi esi chinie ne ya den ya ton ya de ba ne Thursday and ye tete no from so o mo say Saturday obi am park ne niam nyina free park no so
Miss Akwa Pacho sign ti mo ka say mo be yi container no na nso so o mo betimi a share umbrella dwa no.
There was no formal communication via FACTA at the end. Now, for us as an assembly, no, they believe that if the traders assembly will have more our doors are open and we would want them to approach us. So some of these issues would be addressed. But we have not informed them in terms of the removal of the containers out of the are.
Containers ne there, Mr. Anka, containers ne there. Omo jatum say containers na sem ne there mo kan but mo kan no so mo san ka say omo betimi a share umbrella dwa no. Enti eno wan sem se sia na omo ka say mo di kan ka chom so betimi a share umbrella dwa na fe there eno so mo say mo ma omo.
Eno na make can say. Eno na make say why na omo de no communicate ana why na ma omo that very communication say on betimi a share omo umbrellas omo de bedi omuja. Now let me state one idea say share that very enclave a car park. Now it is one of the off-street car parking bays within the city. Say no sharp because of the activities of traders now ever holding, you know. The volumes are say to me by the parking, almost to me and the parking. Now no a lot of congestion. The traders there themselves can attest to the fact to say they also we a trader ton wa the to ja o be no and yes say jam to say store munyama na washe. Now most of the traders no a park munyama na bebre to the extent say that very congestion. So I just want to put on record to say a whole and yet a trading center. Now the assembly is not just moving in to clear these containers or traders there just for doing per se a whole purpose now into shares are hono that purpose no entini enye juma enunti ena saa jumedie na ekoso ho sisi ni ekoso
na moye say jumedie no Mr. Moye say jumedie amuyi omo free hono. Is there an alternative place amode bema omana because almost say they are willing to go if you have a place for them?
The fact of the matter is, in the first place, any assembly no na edo mubaho, they can attest to that fact. Say any assembly no,
true,
and
but Mr. Anka, you also agree.
Let me land, and you understand what I'm saying. Any assembly no, and amo mukwain say omubetina ho aomunju duma. Now number two, the assembly is not also taking anything in terms of any rent for obia ho obia odi oni omo ejuma ho. E ho na nkasa no sha. Issues of sanitation within that very enclave. Now, and the TS can attest to the fact the issues of sanitation there is nothing to write home about. Omuye fina na egugugu na osha. One of the main reasons that na is to ensure say you best sanitize that very enclave to be able to accommodate the volumes of vehicles accommodate, you know. After about the issues of looking for a place for them to go now. And all the meeting cartel says he say no assembly no emphasize BBI to say no what we are looking at is first and foremost ensuring that we sanitize the entire area so that we'll be able to take stock in terms of volumes now. Now, these are part of measures to ensure the assembly knows so you need revenue, and it's very, very important to
Mr. Uncle, you said some moon Jessica or Munchain tickets now muchama mone.
Bisa almost said tickets now or muchana. Is it ticket in terms of renting? No. Nothing is being taken from them in terms of rent. There's actually no contract with
that. Hold on, why no more responding? Pacho tickets na for almost say for there.
Tickets in the buying tickets and the AMA for tickets on the brain. Almost trying. Or you challenge so every year be challenge 50 Ghana. There be almost babaji 2 CDs. A pressica 2 CDs. There be almost babaji AM 4 babaji. Edipra. Na omoji scanner no mo scan fancy sabola.
And the line 50 CDs lines is near for assassin.
The for year a buying dia. A buying dia. We must see if AM.
Almost every
and they buy AM phone be tramayin. 50 Ghana. AM4 and the betamayin. 50 Ghana.
And no rent. Na say baby Kia sanitation now. You don't pay that 2 CDs as sanitation fee to the AME.
The wash sano. Omuji scansa.
Why na Eddie Hall Ashomunsa? And that is why we've always been saying, if there are issues to be addressed now, it is not advisable for us to be doing some of these things on radio and on air. You need to come to the assembly for us to sit down. Because who say ticket now more ticket needing to say this is even the ticket for us to be able to reconcile with all these things. But at the moment, the objective of the assembly is to ensure that very enclave, is reserved as a car park. Now we
Mr. Ankra, Daben or Mombra na Mom have a conversation with you. Hello.
Any other time, they know and they know that the doors of the assembly is open to them. Any other time, they can come in for some of ththese discussions. But let me put it on record. Once again, say that very enclave. Now, that very enclave. Recently, assembly because of illegal connection. That entire enclave one they are aware of all these things. When we are moving into sanitize the area now, and yes, assembly no air target obi, and also assembly so ye obi and it is important for us to state that very, very clearly. for them to understand. They say no, measures are being put in place to ensure that we decongest the city. They say now, vehicles are ever into the city. They don't have places to park. But that's very enclave. I don't know if you have been there before our exercise taking place. But if you have been there, you would attest to the fact to say most of the activities are possible. They are not so. A big crowd of ya parking track. Tracks here. For wheeler tracks here. Omode omoniama egu so ya parking gu bebre. Now these are some of the niyama I can say. Emma hono congested. Na intimi enye at the frontier.
Ms. Ankra, we understand that, but I say almost bar office honum now. Why no money in Mekasa?
Of course, there is some form of hierarchy at the assembly. Now say almost say ba ma yes check niamana and in terms of how to even sanitize the place now. When they come to the assembly, the PR office is there, and we would ensure say we direct them to the necessary offices for some of these things.
Ms. Anka, what can necessary offices are? No, any day because I say, and not Madam Gifty Crack. I say, oh no, 2 days, 100 cities are not done a bag. So this is a matter that requires some form of urgency. In Timpacho, young Bonito to give us straight answers. Almost why. Now, so that we sort this out. Because you even agree with me, so we'll see who die. Now, so we'll be squatting for some time. After a while, no, ultimately, effort property, no, it's okay, say, baby, or no, it's not even assigned to them. They've been there for a while, so they still have some form of rights. Into Omoba, who should they come to directly?
But don't let it also sound to say, I'm not giving you straight answers to the thing. Makase, Omoba, they can come to the PR office. And when they come to the PR office, no, we will lead them to the necessary office for these things to be addressed. I have given you some straightforward answer. You need to me, I resolve the issue.
Now, not necessarily, but anyways. Ms. Ankra, thank you. I'm dumbfounded, but thank you for talking to us this morning. We'll let them come there, and when they come, they will ask for you specifically. Why?
Very much for having me.
You're welcome. Before I then I'm working if I also Mombra office, mobile, Monco PR office honum na Omon directing Monty. Maybe in about 30 seconds I'm working na me wrap here.
They are working in and say, yeah, they are chopper na. Send your worker say, Yanku woman, ya betsna honti, Yenchiashi, Emma woman. Yes, sir, say mistake be a ya. Omon fan chain, yenim say ho ye car park, and a yabesha pavement no so ye di drank a crankra. Enti so make me aboye, and no mamma yet ye be crackra, yet na pavement no so na ye ha cars no so, near di juma. Ye bet see us, oh dear, so money met nasi, no money and she says, okay, it's na pavement, went rank her say. To ya 1 CD, Pama e meno, ye bet see us, ye be ye bomcaso, or 1 Gia or dear, in fact, a be high.
But sure, I say, so please, the authorities that are listening, you've heard the women, you've heard their plight. It's COVID. They need to survive. Their families need to survive. So let's try and do something as soon as possible. In Timpacho, Monko office or Muka Mumbisana, so my friend Mr. Gilbert Ni Ankra or PR office honum na yen sorting out. This, of course, has been the social segment on the morning update on TV. XYZ is my name, Nana Abinasewa. If you're a woman, please get the Lawson Care mixture and treat yourself of all your down there problems and infertility as well. There is the Delay Man capsules for the men. There is the Lawson herbal ointment as well. And of course, if you want further details, you can quickly put the numbers out there that you can call. Also, so it's 0242 133 577 and 0248 619999 and join the Lawson family. Also, for the numbers for distribution of X natural mineral water is 0596 273546 or 0596 273547. See you soon.
I love makeup. Applying it gives me so much joy. But when it's time to take it off, nothing does the job quite like the Black Secret makeup wipes. When I go somewhere and I feel really sweaty, I take my Black Secret wipe and I use it on my face. It picks me up and I don't look as tired as I did when I walked in.
Before I work on a client's face, I like to go over it with Black Secret makeup wipes to make sure the face is clean. It doesn't leave the face dry and tight, but it keeps it soft and moisturized.
Wipe say your bodo.
Bakope, and it gets the job done. Or baby, and the smell makes the experience even better.
Tell me the tell me what this say na me sa ko fa pani. Hey! Kwati adawrumo, me yonko kwati. Na adawruma. Enu anwumre wu ye aduane asori wura dem na me fefe me se dabon. Ana kwati ebere meduro. Eduro de bere me no se losing heba, mister.
Na me sisi me pechi, ene me ho na matwetwe me. Ene me chese madwonku, ene me sei. Na de na won kan
me do futwa so. Empre ho, enye no nko. Wodi losing heba ointment.
Me sisi, me kotodwe, ne me pechi. Me ho na me yaw. Me ntinu a na etwetwe me nyina. Me no ye di Israel. Eko, me benefit ko mu yaw na ne ha no. Onu bie no. Eko, na malaria ne die. Etu asie dekudi.
Lawson Herbal Clinic 0242 133 577.
Enye ma pemfo, ema wo ma omanofo. Ene mofra wonya mfie dum.
Lawson Herbal mixture. Any Lawson ointment. Ehun asidaye.
Welcome to Auto Check Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit Auto Checks at Koforidua Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
Auto Checks. Your safety, our priority.
Check. Auto checks.
Welcome back. This is TVXYZ. This is Xyz TV. It's now time for some conversation on some of the headlines captured in the newspapers and online portals. Today we are coming to you a bit late because there was an equally hot conversation, apparently, but for Abner's conversation, that would have been part of our discussion. So let's just put all of them together. In the studio with me, Alhaji Mohammed Naziru is a member of the NDC's National Communications Team. How are you, sir?
Well, I also occupy a national executive position.
Okay.
Which I would re-emphasize is a position I earned. I'm also the National Communication Officer of the NDC Zongo Caucus. Please.
Welcome.
Thank you.
National Communications Officer of the NDC Zongo Caucus.
Yeah.
You are a big man in the party.
Well,
because Zongo is everywhere.
Oh, certainly.
And the numbers are huge.
Certainly. Except to say that I'm still striving to be a big man.
We'll see that. And then, of course, also in the studio is my colleague from the NPP. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you.
I just wanted to get your name right. Your name is?
Benjamin Educhum.
Benjamin Educhum is also a member of the NPP's communication team. Benjamin, how are you? I like your colors.
Oh, thank you.
I am wearing fugu, but I'm jealous.
Oh, really?
Your colors are bright and you look sweet.
That is good. But I just returned from North, so
I thought it's how you say I just returned from Abuja.
Oh no,
because you are looking fresh.
Ghana is sweet. Ghana is very nice. So there's no need to travel.
Some will say Ghana is hot.
No.
Because you are defending everything. Everybody's launching attacks on you.
Ghana has been hot since the days of Adam.
Some years ago, it was NDC on the defense, defending everything, especially before 2016 elections.
You see, they told us that.
And now it is the turn of MPP. How is it like defending government, especially when the issues look very hot?
For us, we think we are doing great. We are doing well. And then there's no cause for alarm. If you have a government that is performing, you don't struggle to defend the government.
Okay, we'll look at that later. But I think this morning, the focus will be on the Electoral Commission. It has been quiet for some time. You remember after the 2020 elections, they went on leave. They came back later in January and virtually very quiet. And in the last few days, there have been series of engagements. You remember they sent a letter to the NDC to be part of an IPAC meeting, and NDC sent notice that they won't be part of any conversation as far as the 2020 elections and the review is concerned. A couple of days ago, we know what has happened. The EC chair has spoken. She's spoken about a number of reforms. One, that there should be continuous registration. She's also proposed that if elections can end at 3 p.m., that will be appropriate. She also again said EC cannot be held responsible for any of the violence-related incidents that we witnessed during the elections, especially the death of 8 people in Techiman South. And again, they gave themselves a pat on the back for successfully organizing an election which was free from support from the multinational donor support that we have also been witnessing over the years. The NDC General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia has been speaking. He has already fired a strong caution to the EC. He spoke on Angel FM. It's trending. I'm sure you've seen it. But for those who have not heard him, let's listen to Johnson Asiedu Nketia.
Yeah, for now, yes, NDC MPP.
Precisely 2016, 2020. Yeah. Parties mienu. Ubetime akwatamba bi say oh yeah electoral reforms. Now the party no baako. Ene mfiafia ho akokan bom say oh yeah electoral reforms. Now they are be their elections. Their elections no dey ba be. Anything na make us say sa nsemo a wɔn tete madwa ye kika no nyina no enya nsɛm a ɛba so wɔ man mu so obi na dwen sɛ saa abato ɔbɔ ne we ne ɛbɛtena ho ama asan ba bie mu a ɛne on sesa ne notes they should change their notes say ye ɛbɛtena ho ama saa abato ɔbɔ ne we asan ba bie mu wɔ man Ghana mu they should change their notes. Omu diagro, I'm telling them.
No, that means it's easy.
They see Omu diagro chirabai. Wow. So vigilante now the pam nipa. Yenya in vigilante no kwai.
Hey. You know that is serious.
Me see se vigilante na banu ankasa de pam nipa. Adentina obi so ntimi mfa vigilante pam nipa.
Mo de pam easy.
O de ni breso na obete.
But that is serious.
So that was Johnson Asiedu Nketia. He's been speaking to a number of issues, and I'm sure you could tell from his face, his demeanor, that this is a very angry General Secretary of the NDC. It only tells you that the system is hot. There's so much tension in the country, and any attempt that is not managed properly could plunge this country into chaos. We have just come out of an election. The NDC lost. It's bitter because it is not happy with how the Supreme Court handled the election petition case. That issue has not been thoroughly addressed. There are a number of concerns that were associated with the 2020 elections. The EU Observer Mission has also made some recommendations, and EC, again, has also spoken to the same subject. Yesterday, I monitored a conversation involving the General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, and she's saying that if NDC does not want to be part of IPAC meetings that will look at potential reforms, then they must be ready to bear the consequences. The NDC says we are the largest opposition party. EC cannot take us for granted, and EC should not attempt to assume that the space they had before 2020 will be the same going into 2024. These are the issues. Let me start with you, Naziru. This is your political party in crisis with the EC. Several issues in there, and your General Secretary obviously is telling us that the NDC perhaps have learnt lessons or may not allow things to go the way they went before the 2020 elections.
Certainly, yes. Having said a very big good morning to our cherished viewers, to yourself and my colleague from the MPP, I take the opportunity also to sympathize with those who have, lost their family members as a result of election 2020. The outcome of the election was also how it was, and whatever has transpired from then till now is known to everyone. For that matter, we will not waste time going back to historical antecedents, but to look at the way forward. I want to ask fundamental questions. Yes, we've heard the EC attempting to talk about reforms. You are a journalist. You broadcast information to the people. What are the reasons assigned to the, proposed reforms? I mean, it's very critical. We need to understand. For instance, when you are talking about ending election at 3 p.m. to achieve what objective? What have we done so tremendous to ensure that by 3 o'clock, the over 17 million Ghanaians that we expect to vote would have voted without hitches? We've seen the outcome of the election that she promised to have given the result or the verdict within 24 hours. And it took us 3 days to get that executed. We've seen how haphazardly it was done, even with the 3 days. I mean, repeating and coming back to cancel earlier pronouncement and stuff like that. So all this should factor into the reasons why the NDC should be forced to come and sit with her. I mean, we have said it time without number that Jane Mensah has lost all the credibility required of a referee in an election. She's biased. She's shown allegiance to the appointing authority to the extent that she has the opportunity or the power to chastise our no less a person but the General Secretary on the basis of the fact that he smiles when she speaks. I mean, that is the power she's assumed for herself. But read my lips. If Asiedu Keseya has been very diplomatic to even talk about it around the corner, I am sitting here telling you, if after this program, I can be picked by any security office, that 2024 election is going to be won by NDC, and we will take power by any means necessary. I repeat, by any means necessary, we will take power. We are just waiting for 2024 because we are Democrats, or else this government has no reason to continue being in office after all that has transpired. And if you think this is a joke, if you think this is a joke or it's just a statement coming from weaklings, try us in 2024. I am telling you, you will see something different.
What could be the reason for this posturing?
Because it is very clear that we want to be whipped to line when indeed we are speaking the truth. We cannot join in the process of demoralizing the good people of Ghana, discrediting the very constitution and democracy our forebears have fought for. We can't be part of it. Our forebears fought for this 1992 constitution that I bear. Is amalgamation and opinion of our forebears, the PNDC era, and many, peace-loving, democratic Ghanaians, where people like Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president of Ghana today, boycotted, where people like former President Kufuor boycotted, where many, the UP tradition today, by virtue of the fact that they belong to the Ghana Bar Association, boycotted simply on the basis of the fact that we are using butchermen and market women to constitute a constitution.
If I'm an ordinary Ghanaian, perhaps if I want to break it down to three, the question will be abade na American nyina onye isi ne nhyehyɛ na ɔdze ato hɔ no onye ne bɔibra.
Isi ne nhyehyɛ na wayen. Me catch all there or another attempt to reinforce an already biased position, which can't be part of.
Ma isi aka anye there so be ye ya yenye continuous registration. Yenye registrations is what we have all accepted in the past. There should be agents of the various political parties. Now one share there idzina worichro na nipa na obotro ni dzino or within a particular area. Ebiom ose so be ye ya yeto aba na yenwie ntam ama nzama ye be ye no collation of results doesn't travel into the night. What is NDC suspicion?
Well, you see, like we said, we are having a press conference today where I want to believe the General Secretary will throw more light into it. So I wouldn't like to take the sail out, the wind out of his sail, but to tell you that all these measures that she's planning to put in place with the support of other minority parties who don't make representation in our parliament. It is critical to mention that we have a good number of members of parliament in our parliament today. And parliament is also a decision-making house. So that if we are raising objection, are questioning her credibility to even suggest such things, what are the reasons she attached to it to you, who is asking me today as a journalist, so that you can also tell to the good people of Ghana, what are the reasons she has attached to it? So it's business as usual. That is all I am telling you. It's business as usual, doing things that she thinks would favor she and her political party she supports. Jane Mensah has shown that she is an MPP, she supports MPP, she attends MPP appointees functions, she does everything MPP. Why do you think wherever she goes, do you know that this meeting that they attended, it was barricaded by military men? Why so?
We'll go into that.
What are you putting?
We'll
Is she the only MP?
We've done virtually 5 minutes in your submission.
Yeah.
Let me take his initial submission.
My brother, thank you very much. And then I'll send greetings to our party members, the executives. Who have taken
you can
time,
raise your voice.
Ghanaians who have taken time to watch us this morning. I believe we are here not because we have all the knowledge. We are here.
Add some punch.
We are here to think about the country, and I am saying that as my brother sent a warning to the populace that they will take power by all means. I'm also telling him that it is by the rightful means you can take power, and if they attempt to take power by all other means, which is not rightful, as spelled in the constitution he showed, then you also meet them. Yes, I'm telling you, that's the fact. Because they don't have power over violence. And they use this kind of threats and stuff to intimidate people unnecessarily.
Wow, let's watch it.
Unnecessarily.
Let's watch it.
And I'm telling him that this time, if they want to take power by all other means, except the rightful means, then you meet them there. But we are Democrats. We believe in democracy. So we are going to do our best to ensure that Ghana develops.
Now, when you talk about doing your best, can you explain further?
I mean, as a government, you have to ensure that the safety of the people are ensured, development, infrastructure, the soft aspect and the hard aspect, they are all in place. And the people can go by their daily duties without fear or panic. And then you see that in the future, you will leave the country for the next generation. You know, we are all complaining that things are not well. These are old age issues. These issues did not start today. They didn't start under President Akufo-Addo. Neither did it start under former President Mahama. But if we want the best for the country, irrespective of the political parties you are in, you can come together, have a discussion, put something on the table, and then plan around it, so that you implement, you execute it for the betterment of the next generation. So the next generation will not come and complain as we are doing.
Okay, so that's a good point.
Yes.
But the subject of interest is the posturing of the Electoral Commission. Now, the NDC as a complainant here has been consistent with activities before the elections.
Yeah.
Suspicions about government misuse of security agencies to give backing to the EC to undertake its activities, which is an issue that must be properly resolved. And then the suspicion or the perception that EC deliberately sidestepped IPAC and set up a body called Eminent Committee of Persons with a camouflage that they were going to help redress issues. We all know whether they were active or they were sleeping before the 2020 elections. And then we have also seen the NDC's posturing after the Supreme Court adjudication of the election results. All these things are built up to see the NDC where they are now. For you as a representative of the NPP, do you see this as issues that must be resolved, or there are no issues?
Definitely there will be issues to resolve, but those issues are not resolvable. Like they can be resolved. That's what I mean. NDC posture, they've always taken a position, and then before elections, during election, and after election, we've seen in this country always they are against the Electoral Commission. Before the Electoral Commission put up certain measures in place, even for us to register, and then NDC themselves, they kicked against the registration process. They said they are not going to attend the registration process. They are not going to register. But in the very morning we started, we saw NDC big men at the registration center.
Is it for the national ID or the registration?
I mean the voters' ID, the registration of the voters for the voters' ID card. They said they were not going to take part. They boycotted IPAC meetings to that effect. But in the very morning, that's when the voting registration started, they were there very early in the morning, and they were registering. Meanwhile, they've gone everywhere in this country to inform people that, oh, the process is not fair, the EC is biased, as they keep on spinning out. But at the end of the day, they participated. So that is their stock and trade. We don't fear anything they say. They've said it. They've said more than what they are saying today. Yeah. And they continue to say it. And it will not make any difference in this country. Ghanaians know the very political party who has the men to manage the affairs of the country. And they know that it's not NDC. The alternative is empty. We've given them opportunity before. 8 good years. What did they do with it? 8 very good years. Under Mills and under Mahama. For Mills now, you don't hear Mills' name. All the projects under Mills is attributed to Mahama, as if Mills was never in existence. Everything under Mills was attributed to Mahama. And the people of Central Region must listen to those things. That their man has been relegated to the background. In NDC, Professor Mills, in NDC history, you will not hear Professor Mills again. Everything is about Mahama. All the projects under Mills is for Mahama. Why? So all the things they are doing now, they are saying now, it has been said before, and it didn't make any difference. They said they were not going to participate. I don't know if they participated. So they said they were going to court for something they think was not right. At the courtroom, they couldn't produce even single evidence to show that indeed they've won. They asked people to go onto the street. Under this hot sun. Those people who has nothing, they don't have anything. They are from poor homes. Their children were in the air conditions. They were watching bigger TVs. And they were asking the poor people's child or the poor children on the street to come to the street and demonstrate. People were injured on the street, others died. For them.
Are you taking on the anger among NDC members who, even as we speak, still believe that the election was stolen for granted?
It was never stolen. If it was, it could have provided this evidence for everybody to see in this country. They were given the opportunity to go to court for redress. You were there for 48 days. You couldn't show anything. Then you turn around, your own people had asked you to provide them with the information, with the data. You couldn't provide to them.
Nasiru, as National Communications Officer, okay, so land, because you've done 6 minutes, I was timing you, but you can land.
You couldn't provide to them. I don't know if the judgment came, and then instead of you to your leader to accept defeat, as at now, he hasn't conceded. It's so shameful. It's undemocratic. And I think I wish that my brother here on this big TV platform would advise his leader to concede defeat and then look for the future. Okay, probably Ghanaians will give him opportunity, not this 4 years to come, but probably in 10 years or 20 years to come.
By that time, he would have been an old man. About
yes, it doesn't matter. If you are 80 and you still can do something, you can still do something. Right, so, but as it stands now, Ghanaians don't have trust in John Mahama.
Okay, so hold it. You've done more than the number of minutes I gave you. I want to be very rigid this time with the timings I give you. 3 minutes. How do you respond to the posturing that they are empty threats and that take the blame and don't push it to MPP or government?
Well, first of all, to advise him that in our party, the National Democratic Congress, we share ideas with our leaders. We don't advise leaders. We share ideas with them. And the leaders advise them. We don't do things like they do. If they sit in public and advise their leaders, I think that is why Asantehene always advise the president who is coming from them in public and outside in gathering. He doesn't advise him as a leader or as a senior citizen or the president of the Republic of Ghana. And then to move forward as a people. You see, I've always maintained, I've always maintained that the MPP are growing in their arrogance because our leadership have continued to control and we're expecting that they were dealing with equally human beings, rational human beings. Now that they have shown us...
Is that not a harsh word to use?
It is not. Is it not irrational for someone who wrote a stolen verdict in 1992-93 and went to court in 2012 and lost all and still claim that those elections were won by him, telling another person who went to court and we all saw the outcome of the court where the electoral commissioner was refused. She was refused any opportunity.
Was prevented.
Was prevented more, yeah. Was prevented any opportunity to account to the good people of Ghana whose taxes were used to pay her. We all saw the outcome. If that is what happens, and you sit here...
that the NDC has lost trust in the security, in the courts, and so forth? That is why you are sending that strong notice.
You see, it is not about losing interest in the security, losing interest in the court. We are telling you that the electoral commissioner as she is today is not fit by any standard to supervise an election and expect that she will be independent.
No, but it's not as easy as you are saying. She was appointed. There are processes for her removal. The NDC will address a news conference today. But are you suggesting that embedded in there is perhaps going to be a call in future that Jean Mensah cannot superintend on future elections because of reasons you are assigning?
Certainly. That is what we are saying. She cannot continue to hold that position because even accounting to the people, which is part and parcel of her duties as an electoral commission, she has refused to do it. And until she accounts to the people and gets to understand what really transpired, if you have an easy, what do you call it, electoral commissioner who tells you that she can put about 2,000 people at the various polling stations from electoral commissioner, staff of the electoral commission, and doesn't care about their security. What do you think she's telling you?
But the law has shown that that process is what is giving her that space in spite of your protest. What would you
process?
do?
Which process?
Of course, she went to court, come and testify. The court says, looking on the face of what the law says, she cannot be bound. We have gone through that process.
Don't forget, she said she won't testify.
She's come out and she's saying that the elections were perfect. She has given a pat on the back by the European Union Observer Mission. She's poised for even a better election going into 2024. That is the posturing. How is the NDC going to achieve your wish as we speak?
It is very simple. Elections are won at the polling station, and we'll win them at the polling station. That is the only posturing. We will win them by any means necessary. I repeat, by any means necessary, we win the elections at the polling station. That is what we are saying.
With you. How do you respond to the position?
Now, they are saying, it's good he mentioned that elections are won at the polling station. Since when did they realize that?
Since 1992, which you refused to even partake. Since 1992 that you refused to partake.
Concerns about collated results that were either allegedly changed or deliberately changed, and there has been video evidence that has been brushed aside, and that conversation EC had at IPAC meeting never discussed any of these allegations, and therefore they are businesses that have not been addressed. You are aware of it.
They went to court.
No.
When we were going to
court, the court is different from evidence that you and I have seen floating. Whether it is true or not, I don't know.
They should have provided those evidence.
For me, the question should rather be, in 1992, do you believe or still believe that it was a stolen verdict? In 2012, when another went to court, do you still believe that the electoral commission was abused? Those are the questions.
We have 3 minutes. Let me use...
What I'm telling him is that they had all the evidence, video and printed ones. They should have provided it in the courtroom.
It was rejected. Were you not there?
If it is not, please, if it is not of any value, it won't pass through the light of the day. So you had the opportunity to present your case. You couldn't present your case for the judge to accept it.
What happened?
You lost.
The electoral commission was
Charlie,
you
are not a national executive.
Was allowed not to account to the people. We presented our people.
With all due respect, let him make his point. You get a minute rebuttal.
When you are in court, you don't depend on your opponent's submission. You depend on the merit of your own case. That is the rules of the court.
It's a palpable lie.
You depend on the merit of your own case. You don't depend on the response by your opponent to get to have a case. You had all the opportunities. She said that she's not going to testify because there was written statements which could be used as an evidence, and it was available to your legal team. And then another opportunity to cross-examine her.
Was she?
No, to cross-examine her.
Was she?
You. I don't know if you're a lawyer or you have lawyer friends. Every lawyer going to court has a strategy.
So I just want us to take away this conversation from what happened at the Supreme Court, but let's look at going forward.
Going forward.
Let me ask the question, you respond, and then I'll take the same question to him. Now, this is what I am anticipating, that there is an opposition party bitter after losing an election, saying that they won, it was stolen. An opposition party suspicious that the security agencies were used to suppress the truth at the polling stations. And they are issuing threats that never again. How do you see the future with this posturing and the security of Ghana, especially when they suspect that the agencies have been infiltrated by agents whose object is to work for the MPP?
Okay, thank you very much. It has never happened in this country where after election you see the NDC losing elections and then accepting and never complain about it. All these things, they've said it before, as I indicated earlier. This threat, it is their stock and trade. Going forward, the EC realized some mistakes, some anomalies, and then she's trying to correct it. In correcting it, you have to bring all the people together, all the political parties together, have a JoJo and then see the way forward. Is that not the case? Do we pick axe and cutlasses on the street to solve issues? If you have problem with the conduct of the EC, you go to her or you go to the commission.
Join the conversation.
You join the conversation and put your argument out.
Okay, so if
it is a solid one, it will be accepted by all.
So you've done your 1 minute. Now,
no, I had 3 minutes where he was interjecting.
Okay.
Yeah, I had 3 minutes where he was interjecting. So please, allow me.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
So what I'm saying,
so
what I'm saying is that
to say everything you want to say, I can use 1 minute. 1 minute.
So what I'm saying is that it is now is the opportunity for them to table their grievance, and then those grievances will be addressed by all the political parties. You were mentioning that the other political parties are they are not political parties because they don't have the numbers.
I did not say so.
You indicated
if you continue to misquote me, I will interject. I did not say so.
You said that you are the largest political party.
You wouldn't have had that space.
If he comes in, I will also do the same. So don't worry. I have that listed. So at the end of the day, the political parties, they are all political parties. They are all registered. Not long ago, other political parties, the Kwadonko parties and all that, they were on your side. At that time, when it's IPAC meeting, you call them together and then you count them. And you tell Ghanaians that we have about 20 political parties in our favor. So we are the majority. Now you are saying that they are smaller political parties and they don't have the numbers. So they don't matter.
Okay, so you've done
what are you telling them?
Now 2 minutes. Now, Ghana Police Service, Ghana Armed Forces, their job is to protect the state. Going into the 2020 elections, if the NDC's posturing is that we won't allow things to go the way they have been in the past, if they are not properly addressed, you will resist it. They will crush you. How do you address that? Again, you could have used EC's platform to address the concerns you have. Why wouldn't you go there instead of complaining?
Yeah, you see, it's like I said earlier, there is no business dealing with Jane Mensah as the Electoral Commissioner with a current posture. There is no business dealing with her because you know the outcome. This is what she will do. She's on record to have refused to account to the good people of Ghana her stewardship. And for that matter, what else is left for you to think about her and think about being rational with her?
Boycott future elections. Because you cannot going to be part of the discussion, then you boycott it.
As in not participate in the election. We are not MPP. We are not MPP.
Why do you participate on something you think?
Like I said earlier on, this constitution that we are all enjoying today is credited to our forebearers. It is our duty. We are mandated by that to continue to protect democracy. So we are not an MPP. We will not boycott any election. We will participate in every election and ensure that democracy strives and stands on its feet in Ghana. That is our duty. That is what our forebears have instilled in us, and that is what we will continue.
Why should you participate?
But the point still remains.
Why do you have to participate on the process? That is wrong.
Police service or the other security service are going to crash us because we are right.
I don't know if you participate on it and then you come and complain to the people of Ghana. That's hypocrisy.
Are acting against the law. They are supposed to protect the law to ensure that law and order prevails. If they do things contrary to that, then they are going against the law, which makes it mandatory for us who are protecting the democracy to fight them.
He says it's just mere talk. 2020, we saw it. All the threats issued before 2020, you didn't execute it. The security was on the ground, and we are moving on as a country.
You see, if I sit here and want to respond to his rhetoric and say that, yes, this is what we are going to do, then I'm becoming childish like him, thinking that when we are serious on this matter, it's childish. But I want to tell him that the NDC is an element of surprise. And we'll continue to maintain that. If it's childish, if it's empty threat, if it's whatever it is, they should stop going around arresting everybody. That things must be done right in this country. If they think it's childish, if they think it is just empty talk, they should just stop going around arresting common journalists who voice out their feelings. If they think it's empty threat, they should stop harassing our party chairman who goes to court almost every month, every week. This is the 57th time when he went to court last week. Stop harassing all those people and tell us that, yes, you think we are childish. You can't continue harassing us and caging everybody and saying whatever everybody says is childish. You see, Let's get there.
Is this not sending an uncomfortable signal to Ghanaians about a heavily polarized country, which perhaps is on the brink of collapse?
Now, who cause her? That is the question. Now, who cause her? We are defending the Constitution. That is why I said anybody that acts at variance with the Constitution must be fought. That is what the Constitution tells us. Okay, to protect the Constitution. So let me take if we are protecting the Constitution, what have we done against the law?
The Constitution tells you
a brief rebuttal, and the
Constitution tells you to pick cutlasses and arms.
You said so.
Those
are your words. I spoke here for about an hour now. I'm not speaking about acts. No, he's putting words in my mouth. I didn't say so.
Allow him.
If you disagree on an issue, where is the appropriate way to go?
The NDC
you go to court, isn't it?
Is this go to court business?
One thing is that that's what the Constitution is trying to defend states. It stipulates that if you disagree on something, the proper place for a redress is court. So you don't issue threat out there to the people trying to create the impression that something is wrong where nothing is wrong.
Are you sure you are speaking for Nanado?
Oh, come on. In
1995, when Nanado was putting people on the streets for Kume Prepu, were they caught or were they not caught?
Let me respect your people.
I'm respecting them, but you are speaking as if we are joking here.
You are joking. You are joking. You are being childish.
Oh, really?
Yes. You stated that you are not going to be childish as I have been.
Can I have the floor?
I know you'll be provoked.
No, please. No, me.
I know you'll be provoked.
Oh, no. You are being childish.
Nasiru, with all due respect.
You are being childish. Respect your viewers.
Benjamin, with all due respect.
How to do?
Please, let me take my role, or let me play my role as host of the program. Please, if we can, let's try to reduce the temper.
Exactly.
And let's allow each other to make a point.
Exactly.
I gave you 2 minutes. Let's assume that there's been an interjection. Wrap up in a minute. Let's move on to another topic.
So what I'm saying is that the security of this country is well assured. Everything is moving on well. People are just creating the impression that something is wrong, but nothing is wrong in this country. All that they are doing is for their own parochial interest. They are fighting, they are talking outside unnecessarily, just for their interest, just for their bellies. And the same thing they did by calling people onto the street, where they didn't have any evidence, where they have no issue.
Okay, so now,
and at the end of the day,
yes.
Oh, 1 minute.
It's up. Sometimes you may not observe it. I've tried severally to allow it to go, but we've done it. Now, because we are talking about security-related issues, let's look at what is developing on the national security architecture and the allegations, counter-allegations, and so on and so forth. I believe we know where we are. Now, if the national security architecture is operating with a number of suspicions around what it does, obviously, it may feed into what NDC's posturing is now. How can government manage the concerns to reassure the public that there should be no cause to worry and that people operating are indeed professionals and will not be used against what the Constitution says?
Thank you. Over the years, the national security has been an institution that operates in a certain way. You normally not hear from them on few occasions that their name comes up. But since 96 coming, all the time the national security name is in the news, and I think the management of the institution must take a very critical look at it. Normally, national security recruitment is done in a secrecy, unlike the armed force and the police and all the other security service. So you may not know the kind of people being recruited into the national security. For proper national security, you see lawyers in there, you see doctors in there, journalists are there. Sometimes you sit in the office and then you have a national security officer among the staff. You may not know. But now, from 96 coming, people recruited in national security, you hear them themselves saying that I'm a national security operative. So if you sell yourself out like that, how do you gather information? How do you detect crime? you may not detect crime.
So that is one aspect of the concern.
Yeah.
The other aspect, which appears to be building momentum in terms of public perception and some kind of endorsement as truth, is what happened in Kumasi, where a former regional police commander, not a mere officer, but a DCOP, almost
staff,
close to the top, suggesting that members of NPP vigilante members group have been drafted into national security, and they are the ones causing mayhem to innocent people. If this suspicion is there, isn't it a worry to government?
I think members of a certain group, which has been disbanded for some time now, you know, those groups started around, you have Azoka Boys, Bamba Boys came, Veranda Boys and Girls, whatever names they call themselves, came. It's like there is unemployment in the system. And people are trying to find every other possible means to get something to eat. So they engage in those who do not have like certificates as you and I may have, may engage in other things which may not be the right way. But at the end of the day, if they were part of vigilante group and now they are part of national security, what were we seeking to do? We were seeking to stop illegal activities being executed or done by those groups. So what you need to do is you find them a good job, a nice job to do. Then so by recruiting them into the national security itself, it's not a bad thing. They are Ghanaians. But my concern is when you recruit them, you train them, you give them proper training. Even those professionals, as a professional, you have to go through training and development in your institution. Not that you don't know your job, but you have to be updated, upgraded, upgrade yourself in those...
yeah, they call it capacity building or in-service training.
In-service training. So even if you are a professional, you do that. So if we are employing these people into our national security or any other service, we have to give them proper training. The concern the DCOP was raising, that they were part of a group and now they are part of national security, is no issue.
What
is a no issue?
Some may, and let me put it in the form of a question. You respond, and I can go to him. Some may say that if you water down that concern, it is dangerous because before the 2020 elections, there were rumors that people were being secretly trained to be drafted into national security. There are concerns that people are being absorbed into the Ghana Police Service, Ghana Army, when forms are not being sold to all Ghanaians. So government is deliberately filling the agencies with party boys. And what is emerging is the additional suspicion that these party boys are being used to suppress Ghanaians who want to have their right. And so it builds the suspicion that is telling us that 2024 could put Ghana into a very volatile situation.
NDC, I myself, I applied to one of the security service. I was never taken. But I saw NDC, other NDC sympathizers, members being recruited into those services. Should I complain? I don't have to complain. They are all Ghanaians. So if now people are being recruited into the national security, what's the issue? But the activities they conduct by their by the organization is what we must put on
the table,
for discussion. So being recruited is not an issue at all. For me, people need to be recruited. Ghanaians need to be recruited. Ghanaians need employment. And every Ghanaian deserves to be employed. National security is not like police and other security service, as I said, that their recruitment will be out there and everybody knows it. During NDC time, other people wanted to apply. They never had the opportunity. People who never applied got the opportunity to serve their country. What's the problem?
Okay, so
it is a practice.
All right. So you've done
some time now.
4 minutes on this. Fair game, isn't it? You did it. They are doing it to you.
There is no record. Even the names he's mentioned, some veranda boys, Azoka boys, there's no single record. Indeed, Azoka today is the vice chairman of our party. So if he has a grouping under his name, They are doing legitimate business, and that is why he has the audacity and capacity to represent the party as a vice chairman.
Can you imagine this?
There's no other record that shows that NDC has, inculcated into our security services hoodlums and vagabonds. That's
it looks like today you are using very harsh words.
Well, that is what they understand.
No, but
that is what you were here when he has when he was told to call me childish. You didn't stop him.
That's childish.
You didn't stop him.
That's childish.
That is what they understand.
Respect your viewers.
I spoke.
He's correcting you. He's correcting you.
But
you have to accept it. And then apologize to the people of Ghana.
Benjamin and Nasiru. Apologize to the people of Ghana. Benjamin, I've mentioned your name 3 times. Can you give me some space? Nasiru, I want to take some space here. Let's move forward. Let's avoid strong words. I'm not gagging you.
I've been taught to speak in a language that people understand.
Go ahead.
Want to communicate.
Go ahead. I'll be ready to...
You understand? The language they understand is violence. And if violence is what they understand, you meet them with violence. That is it. That is the only way they can listen to you.
Address your point.
Sure. So that if we are moving forward,
let him speak.
The point is still clear that this is another vindication of the fact that the entire process of peace council and everybody sitting us down as political party to disband our grouping is a facade, because some people have really moved their grouping into the main security service. They are using our taxpayers' money to pay them and enhance their position and give them, rifles to wield and cause mayhem to the good people of Ghana. As I speak to you, Yusha Oyaro is sitting at home. He was a footballer who played for the Black Stars of Ghana. He played for Accra House of Folk. He went to India to apply his trade. He came back just to attend the Ayawasu West Wagomba election as a member of NDC and to observe what is going on. Today, he has been handicapped. Many are those who have lost their life as a result of the irresponsibility of these young hoodlums that have been incorporated into our national security and into our security service. And you expect that we should come and sit down. It is MPP's time. They are doing anything they want, and we should sit down and watch them do whatever they want, because it is their time. When it is our time, we should also do the same. You see, the irony is that I am totally surprised and shocked at the fact
Benjamin,
that
let him speak,
it
and
is
then I'll
not
come
me
to you.
sitting here talking as though those people have been inculcated into the security service. We also, when the is it a Meshort committee on the Ayawasu West Wagon and the recommendations they made to government, which of them have been adhered to? If for nothing at all, even adhere to the compensation plan that is due people who have been handicapped by the carelessness of the people you have incorporated into the national security.
Wrap up in a minute.
Compensate them. You won't do even that. You continue to engage them. You continue to embolden and empower them. But the question is,
you have 30
what
seconds
is
to wrap up. I want to
happening
read
in the
a few
Ashanti
messages.
region? That anytime they want to change a regional liaison, security liaison, it must result in mayhem. What is happening there? Is it true what Ayensu Opariado is saying, that it all boils down to Galamsey? He's preventing them from the Galamsey, and they don't like it and want to go on the field to do Galamsey.
So leave it as a question. Leave it as a question. Let me read a few messages. I have a lot of them here. So let me read a few messages. I think that will water down the tension in the studio. I'm enjoying it anyway. I think the only way to stop this Galamsey is to ban all surface mining, legal or illegal. I will try to make your messages as short as possible. Bosheba says Ghanaians should expect good things from President Akufo-Addo in the second term, because he has good policies that will help the country to move forward. That's him, Bosheba. This one is from Eben in Kwabenya. Mr. Incompetent President, what has happened to Ghana beyond aid? And we are sitting on money. Let me tell you, incompetent President, Africa don't need debt cancellation from Western countries at all. Correct Score says, Nanado and Baumia, Ghana card, which is free, is today selling to a poor Ghanaian at 250 cedis. We told you you should never trust the Akufo-Addo and Baumia. Nothing is for free. Masawudu sent this text message. He said there is currently a war against illegal mining, and the military is leading the charge to ensure that Galamsey is kicked out of the country. I'll keep your messages as short as possible because I have a lot of them. Mr. Eric, I don't know what is happening to our school system, and the JHS will be vacating on the 15th June and go back on the 5th of May. Why are they stressing on children with this? I think I don't really understand. You are talking about the free SHS that came home on the 5th of May. I think the issue about the management of the free SHS has been a topic. I'll leave that to you and people around you to discuss. Good morning. We thank the president for bringing the second dose of the vaccines. Dr. Gideon Buako, I salute you. May Allah bless you. Then he goes on to say hello to a number of people. I am down below from Bremso Apeuska. I have always had my doubt about the approach of this government in tackling Galamsey menace. If the illegal miners would have to face the law, the excavators and other machines used for Galamsey business, they must exhibit them in court. Now, these are evidences being bent. I think it makes a lot of sense. This one says the youth need work to do because the youth are suffering in our own country. Please, we beg our leaders to do something for us. It didn't come with a name. This one says the MPP rep is confusing the program. Please bring him on track. Ask him if he's satisfied with the results of the electoral commission. This one says, good morning, Mr. Host. Please ask the MPP man in your studio to mention just one capital-intensive project Kufuor started and completed in his 8 years rule of this country. President Mahama has more than enough to his credit within 4 years. NDC must train their security guys for 2024 elections or forget it completely. This is from Kweku in Cape Coast. Last two. This one says, Tutu Robso Hills at Nkrofo in Takrady says, look, Ghana has a major problem to be fixed on its own. So please, Alhaji Nasiru and Mr. Siedun Ketia shouldn't be proactively ranting violence like statements for the 2024 activity. And the last one says, Inshraba sent this from Ashaiman constituency. Says the citizens must wake up and fight against corruption and self-seeking politicians who are destroying our environment, lands, water, and other bodies through illegal mining. And so I have from this one. I'll go to the others before we wrap up. Now, going forward, some will say there's so much tension in the country. Others will say government is on track. Let's give it the peace of mind to operate. Another school of thought would be government must find a way of bridging the gap between the relationship with NDC so that we see a country united going forward. So many issues. As we speak, the president is in France. I'm sure he's left there to, I think, UK or so. I don't know. I think another country. I'm not too sure. And we've just heard him bring in 170 million euros to help establish a bank. Government is asking for debt forgiveness. Some are saying government must demonstrate what it is doing with what is borrowing to build confidence and water down the agitation against government. We have just less than 5 minutes to wrap up. I'll give you 2 minutes. Just speak uninterrupted. I'll give him 2 minutes. I will take that 1 minute to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you once again. Government is on course. And governance is a process. So it takes time. We all know that when we came into government, there were a lot of issues which needed to be addressed. And then we are taking time to address it one by one. Sometimes, if you do the things you do all the time, you get the same results. And now government is adopting different approach to address Ghana issues. The approaches are that now we have a vice president who is trying to wise to the technological world, where the things we didn't have in terms of our transactions, now we have mobile money interoperability, where you can transfer your money from bank to your mobile money and your mobile money to your bank, or you can have your mobile money with you. You withdraw from everywhere in this country. These are some of the measures we are taking to address the fundamental challenges we have in this country. Infrastructure wise, every government do something about they've done something about infrastructure. It's not NDC or NPP. Even the Nkrumah government did some kind of infrastructure in this country. But whatever you do, at the end of the day, maintenance is an issue. So it boils down to our attitude as a people. If we leave it only in the hands of only government, whether NPP or NDC, it means that you are not looking for any progress in this country.
Okay, so you've done your 2 minutes. Nasiru, 2 minutes.
Certainly, if you have a government that told us way before now that if you borrow 40 billion, you can do many things with 40 billion, including building 1,000 hospitals and many other projects, telling us today, after that government has borrowed over 170 billion, that what they did is to do interoperability of mobile money transfer and telephone transfer, then it should tell you the kind of government we have, who is confident and sitting here telling you that you can't do anything. That is the government you have. Telling you can't even do anything upon all this. He won't even have the I lack
what did you do? What did you do to change the system?
Motions
what did you do to change the system?
Ghanaians to support it. He's telling you can't do anything.
Is it only
what he has been able to do with 170 billion is what? To do interoperability. And if you talk to them, you say, I use Google to search where I was going. So that is what we have done with 170 billion.
He's asking you, what did you do?
What did you do? What did we do?
What did NDC do with the monies you borrowed?
140, the 40 billion that we borrowed has seen today Kaswa having an interchange. It has seen Circle having an interchange. Today, throughout the COVID pandemic, it is the investment of the 40 billion that saw the University of Ghana Medical Center. It is the investment of government that saw the Ghana District Hospital. It is the investment of government that protected the sanctity of our economy with even excesses and profits. Because we came to enjoy only one oil field. We left for you 3 oil fields. We have the Tame field, we have the Sankofa field, we have the Jubilee field.
I'll give you same time. So
you understand? We even added to you Asla. And today, we are in debt and we are in crisis with the electricity. After all these things that we have given to you, we give you a running electricity, a very stable electricity with huge evidence to show that this is what we have done. What have you done?
Okay,
what
so
have
you done with 170 billion? You have almost 1.5 minutes. Tell us
what
a
have
few
you
of
done?
the
There
things
is a university that came out of
This is a palpable lie, in the sense that when they were leaving office, what was the state of our energy sector? What was the state of electricity in Ghana? You were in Dumso, you left government with us, Dumso. And those days, if you are a student, you've completed university and employment, freeze on employment.
Many times, if I
freeze on employment,
let him land.
Then
let this go.
And you are in the house enjoying your television as people are watching from home, and then there is lighthouse. It was as if you are in hell. It was as if you were in hell.
The promise and how
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we've been able.
This is evidence.
At the end of the day, we've been able to solve Dumso.
This, I said that is
no,
page,
come on.
Bring
your green book.
72.
You've been able to show our book. Bring your green book.
Highlights the promise and what they did to achieve the promise.
Time.
So at the end of the day,
that is it. When you go to Dumso, they just done.
There's nothing at the end of the day, we've been able to implement free SHS, where the poor and the rich are enjoying freely. At the end of the day, we have youth employment, where we've been able to establish NAPCO for 100,000 jobs. At the end of the day, we've been able to construct railway from what do we call it, western region to the northern region.
Okay.
So what infrastructure? As I said, every government does infrastructure.
As we speak, the time is up.
That's why
Elliot,
based on the infrastructure wise,
please,
I was talking about
Nasiru, when you do that, Nasiru.
Where is the station? Show me the station. I come from
Elliot Wobbe says Jean Mensah and the NPP are now having a closed-door meeting, and the result of that is the decision they made to start closing elections on 3 p.m. on election day. I said Keti has already sent a warning to them, but now we as citizens are also adding our voice to it. I'll end it here. That's it for today's edition of Newspaper Review. I wish we would have started earlier, but it's hot. Sometimes it happens. And it is not this platform alone. They can disagree when the issue is that sensitive. I'm sure you're having your own debate and perhaps you are smiling or you are angry at home because you are not satisfied with all the contributions. But that's Xyz TV and that's TVXYZ. On behalf of my production team on both sides, Wezo, TVXYZ, and my colleague Nana Benasewa and Wisdom Hedejome. Thank you. Let's meet again. Tomorrow is Friday. Bye for now. I am Eric Anyanyu.